Welcome to HDTV. You're now rocking with your boy. I am disappointed in Kevin Garnett. Kevin Garnett calls out Nets Kyrie Irving for stepping on the Celtics logo. A Celtics fan throwing a water bottle at Nets guard Kyrie Irving may have overshadowed a controversial gesture from Irving during Brooklyn's victory Sunday, but at least one former Boston great wasn't letting Irving's actions go unnoticed. Retired Celtic forward Kevin Garnett posted an Instagram story to his verified account calling out Irving for stepping on the Celtics logo at midcourt during Brooklyn's 141 to 126 victory in Game 4 of the first round of the NBA playoffs. Late in Sunday's game, as Irving was greeting teammates who were headed to the Nets bench, he stepped out to midcourt where he took a step on the face of the Celtics logo known as Lucky the Leprechaun. So nobody's going to say anything about Kyrie stomping Lucky, Garnett wrote. We just going to act like we didn't see that, he continued. You can't do that. That's not cool on no level. All of us need to be better, for real, for real. The gesture sparked outrage and debate online among fans and former players and may have prompted the fan, who was later identified as Cole Buckley of Braintree, Massachusetts, to throw the bottle at Irving after the game. Buckley, 21, was arrested and charged with assault and battery with a deadly weapon and is scheduled to be arraigned in Boston Municipal Court on Tuesday. Irving played for the Celtics in 2007 and 18 and 2018 and 2019 and signed with the Nets during free agency in the summer of 2019. On Sunday, he scored 39 points on 11 for 24 shooting, including 6 for 12 on three-pointers. Garnett, a 15-time NBA All-Star and Hall of Famer, played for the Celtics for 6 seasons, helping the team win an NBA Finals during the 2007 and 8 season. He averaged 16 points and 8 rebounds per game while in Boston. This is why I've never been a fan of Kevin Garnett. I'm gonna get into that. Hold on for a second. I've also lost respect for Tydrakis Robinson. You've lost a lot of respect with me, bro. I don't respect none of your opinions when you come on my platform. You need to take your coon ass on somewhere. And that's me telling you that, Mr. Tydrakis. You a coon, just like Kevin Garnett is being a coon. I don't care if a logo is nothing but an image. Just like the Confederate flag is an image and the American flag is an image. If they were to say, I'm taking the Confederate flag down, I'm going to take these statues down, what does that do when they're still treating us like black folks, like niggas? You're so focused on a logo that means nothing. Sports is just a game that has financially helped a lot of people who are in poverty situations become millionaires. Some have survived those years playing basketball or football to be able to make sure their family is fine for years to come. I am so sick and tired of you people, especially black people, turning out to be worse than white folks. Especially you, Tydrakis, and you're along with Kevin Garnett. And I'm singling you out because you guys have a coon mentality. Just like Steven Jackson, just like Matt Barnes, just like Stephen A. Smith, just like Jason Whitlock, just like Chris Broussard, Rob Parker, all of these good old boys. in the media. Jamel Hill came to the defense of Naomi Osaka, but just last week or the week before, you were tearing down Kwame Brown, placing violence onto him. Then going to make a cop-out statement and say, oh, I was just talking about Game of Thrones. Everything that deals with Image, I don't give a shit about. Image did not call me nigga. Image has not placed nigga on me living in this world or this land called American. Shout out to Pro Basketball Updates, which is Ticket TV, and calling Kevin Garnett out for his bullshit. Kevin Garnett. Let me read something to you real quick. And Ty Drake is, I'm going to read something to you since you're so bent on stomping on the logo. Who gives a damn? It's a logo. Let's see. I remember the Tennessee Titans stomped on the Baltimore Ravens logo. None of y'all said anything about that, Ty Drakis. I didn't see you on here talking about that's disrespectful. I didn't hear you back when saying that was disrespectful. I didn't hear a lot of you guys on the internet, you fake ass Boston fans. I didn't see you guys say that was disrespectful. But because it's that white imagery that has been the sole imagery and sole power over you guys to keep you guys talking about racism and to keep that ideology of that racism where it was very racist when such players had played there. Because this here is just, you guys are trying to see, they do this when a white person messes up. You notice how they're trying to go to Kyrie stomping on the logo and trying to say that was the reason. So, okay, Ty Drakis, that means every fan should throw bottles at people, right? I didn't see Baltimore Ravens fans throwing bottles at Titans fans. I mean, at the Titans after they stomped on the logo. Tell me why. So we should just let you throw bottles at somebody for stomping on a logo. Who cares? It's a logo. You don't want it to happen? Beat them. Let me read something to you, Garnett and Ty Drakis Robinson. Throughout his life, Bill Russell of the Boston Celtics experienced racism and discrimination that helped motivate him to become one of the greatest champions in the history of American sports. During his life and NBA career, Russell fought through tremendous adversity and faced the kind of racism and prejudice that would have disheartened many other men. Even while he became an 11-time NBA Finals champion and a 5-time league MVP, Russell could never quite escape the prejudice that plagued him throughout his life. Okay? Let's see. Now, Here's something you need to listen to, Mr. Kevin Garnett and Mr. Tydrakis Robinson, since you guys want to destroy Kyrie Irving, because you guys don't like Kyrie Irving because he left LeBron. Let's just be honest. Now, Boston's reputation had already been cemented among professional athletes. A handful of Major League Baseball players had clauses written into their contracts that allowed them to veto a trade to Boston. The relationship between the Celtics fans and Bill Russell was one full of trepidation. On one occasion, Russell's home in Boston was broken into, vandalized, and his walls were smeared with feces. Let me read that to you again, Tydrakis and Kevin Garnett. The relationship between the Celtics fans and Bill Russell was one full of trepidation. On one occasion, Russell's home in Boston was broken into, vandalized, and his walls were smeared with feces. So Kyrie had a right to stomp on that bitch-ass logo. And I hope he does it again. This led Russell to spew forth various comments that depicted the town of Boston as racist, prejudiced, and intolerant towards Black Americans or African Americans who worked or lived in the city. After winning his final title in 1969, Russell was a no-show at the championship parade. Let me read that to you again, Tydrakis Robinson and Kevin Garnott. After winning his final title in 1969, Russell was a no-show at the championship parade, a no-show at his jersey retirement ceremony. Let me read that again, because you guys are the problem with what's going on in the world. You coon-ass niggas. I'm sick of your ideology and your goddamn thinking. Let me read that again. After winning his final title in 1969, Russell was a no-show at the championship parade, a no-show at his jersey retirement ceremony, and a no-show at his Hall of Fame induction ceremony. So shut the fuck up, Garnett and Tydrakis Robinson, with that bullshit. I was glad Kyrie stomped on that logo. I hope somebody else stomps on that racist ass logo. His actions and many of his actions prior led the media in public to view him as a jerk. Hold on, Tydrakis. Let me read that to your slow ass again. And to Kevin Garnott, his slow ass. His actions and many of his actions prior led the media in public to view him as a jerk. Who called him a jerk? The media. Multi-ethnical destruction in America, nigga. The fuck is you talking about? Don't come to my platform with that weak ass shit, because I will debunk you. He had every right to stomp that punk ass logo. His actions and many of his actions prior led the media and public to view him as a jerk. He was seen as an arrogant, stubborn, selfish, and egotistical man, when really it was the fact that since the public gave him nothing, he felt he owed the public nothing in return. The big concern he has is for the Celtics. Nothing else really matters. That's why he seems so cold often to the press and the fans. They're not Celtics. Russell disappeared for the most part. For the rest of the 20th century, besides 2 coaching stints with the Seattle Supersonics and Sacramento Kings, he stayed out of the limelight. He just didn't care about making people accept him if it was too easy or if he knew they never understand. Russell wanted to be viewed as a normal human being, not some superhuman athlete who should be revered for his accomplishments. He simply wanted to touch others and make them see things in a different light. He was a realist and someone who would speak his mind. As recently as the late 90s, Russell returned to Boston with a better attitude and has worked to create a stronger relationship with fans and media. Russell has reestablished his ties in Boston and is now a frequent visitor. He even went so far as to retire his jersey in front of fans in '99. The 21st century has been very good for Russell. So don't give me that bull crap about your bum ass Celtics. You disrespected probably the greatest center or greatest player in history, greatest winner in history. While the future seems bright for Russell, well, excuse me, the 21st century has been good for him, but he's been inducted into the National College Basketball Hall of Fame, and he's a member of the founding class, received an honorary doctorate from Suffolk University, has an honorary degree from Harvard, and has been a recipient of the prestigious Presidential Medal of Freedom. Also, in honor of his legendary playoff performances, the National Basketball Association has named his Finals MVP after him, the Bill Russell NBA Finals MVP Award. Now, while the future seemed bright for him, his rapport with the community in Boston and his past experiences with racism still haunt him. The racism he faced stimulated him. It drove him to play as hard as he could. Russell bottled everything up and used it as fuel for the next game. He wouldn't suffer, but his opponents would suffer. The hate towards the media that Russell projected was brought on by their bigotry and attitude towards him. He felt that he was a victim of the media and journalism. They didn't understand him. They didn't know the real Bill Russell. He distrusted anyone who wasn't a Boston Celtic or a friend of his. One of Russell's many incidents with prejudice occurred when he was with the NBA All-Stars on one of their exhibition trips around the country when he and a fellow African-American teammates were denied service at a hotel. Although the team went on to play the exhibition game the next day, Russell sat out in protest. Russell's I am somebody demeanor didn't sit well with many who still sat under the impression that African Americans were below whites. So, Kevin Garnett, shut the fuck up. Tydrakis Robinson, shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up. Okay, now, Casey Jones. This is to you, Garnott, since your Boston community is so great. I'm just showing you the past. Then I'm going to go to somebody else that was in the 80s. So you guys can see why Kyrie stomped that pussy ass logo. Casey Jones had a cross burnt on his lawn. African American Celtics couldn't join the city's country clubs, and their white teammates received endorsement deals galore, while even Russell received no local offers. These instances will lead one to believe the team was often divided, but this was never the case. The Celtics would continually motivate themselves by setting team goals. So, now Kevin Garnott and Tydrakis Bum Robinson, I'm going to show you guys something else. Now, here is what Cedric Maxwell said, Tydrakis Robinson and Kevin Garnott. Cedric Maxwell, out of his own mouth. No excuses for Celtic fan throwing water bottle at Kyrie Irving. Former Celtics great and Celtics radio analyst Cedric Cornbread Maxwell said there are no excuses for a fan who is accused of throwing an empty water bottle at Nets guard Kyrie Irving. I don't think it was an empty bottle. I believe it was filled up, but they're gonna say that to protect the white guy. I am so happy that whoever this person was arrested immediately, and hopefully they'll never let back into the NBA game. Maxwell said there are no excuses for throwing a water bottle. Celtic fan Cole Buckley is arrested after throwing a water bottle at Kyrie Irving of the Brooklyn Nets after Game 4 of the Eastern Conference first round series at TD Garden. Now, this is what you should have said, Garnett. Maxwell also called out Irving for stomping on the Boston logo. He said, great player, maybe one of the greatest offensive player ever to put on a Boston Celtic uniform, but in this case, just show some class when you win. Did you hear what he said, Ty Drake is Bum Robinson and Kevin Garnott? That is how you were supposed to say it. Great player. He didn't take the highlight off of the fan throwing it. So he gave no excuse. While other media people have been saying because Kyrie stomped on the logo, that fan threw the bottle. Don't give him a cop-out. He did not deserve to throw a bottle at him. That was disrespectful. And then he goes on to say, you're seeing a lot of old ways come up. It's been that way in history in terms of entertainment, performers, and sports for a long period of time, and just underlying racism and just treating people like they're in a human zoo, Irving said. Maxwell said racism is a problem everywhere, but he does not think it is an issue specific to Boston. Now, that is how you answer stuff, Kevin Garnott. I'll be the person of color who says that Boston does not have a monopoly on racism. Is there racism around? Yes. Nobody is going to be stupid, but just to say Boston, just to say that Boston is this place, that is not true, he said. And it's not just Boston. I agree with Cornbread Maxwell. I agree with him because there's racism in Utah and Denver as well with their fans. But you heard what he said. He didn't take the onus off of the bum-ass fan who threw that. And Cornbread Maxwell has talked about racism in the past, about fans being racial towards him. Casey Jones had crosses burnt on him. Now, this was said in October 1985. Basically, serious folks. Cedric Maxwell leaves some bitterness behind in Boston, starts anew with Clippers. For a guy, so let's see. For a guy who actually used to like being called cornbread and who for many years was without question the most valuable player of the Boston Celtics, Cedric Maxwell seems rather concerned these days as many in the NBA don't take him seriously. Okay, now. So now, basically, Arbach basically said Maxwell hadn't worked hard enough to rehabilitate himself and worse, didn't care. Auerbach could not be reached for comment. He wasn't reached for comment for that statement. But Coach Casey Jones said he feels bad that Maxwell's final days with Boston were so acrimonious. I never questioned a player's injuries, but others did, Jones said. In my opinion, Max did the best he could to come back, but it wasn't good enough. Max had a lot of great years here, but decisions had to be made. So, why would Auerbach come out and say that? Why Auerbach didn't talk trash about any of his white players? You question a man who was loyal to your bum team. And this isn't just dissing Boston. There's a lot of franchises that have racial fans. But I'm just pointing out to Kevin Garnett, know your damn history, sir. That's all I'm saying. Look at your history before you speak up. Now, Celtics banned the fan who racially abused DeMarcus Cousins, and this was in 2019. And this was reported by Chris Haynes that the Boston Celtics had banned the fan for only 2 seasons. They banned him for 2 seasons after the fan called DeMarcus Cousins the N-word during the Warriors' sole visit to Boston. The incident happened on January 26 when the Warriors played the Celtics, a game the Warriors ended up winning. It was during this matchup that the Celtics fan in attendance reportedly said to slur to Cousins. According to Hayes, Cousins immediately reported the incident to an arena security person who removed the fan. So, dog, Utah fans, all of these fans are out of control. But for you to take the highlight off of Kyrie Irving stomping on that racist ass logo in this racist ass place, you guys took the logo of him stomping. That doesn't mean nothing. What that means is the other team, which is your team, needs to go out there and beat Kyrie on the court. A fan doesn't have the right to throw something at him. Now, if Kyrie Irving would have ran up in the stands and beat his ass, Tydrakis Bum Robinson and Kevin Garnott, y'all would have been crucifying Kyrie Irving, saying he's mentally weak. You are the problem with society. You guys are coons. You guys are for the token Negro-ness, and you guys are for the bull crap. Now, is Kyrie wrong for stomping on the logo? I don't care, because to me, if he stomps on my logo, I'm coming out the next game, I'm whooping his ass on the court. That's my mindset. I don't have a problem with it. My thing is, we got to come back and defend the logo the next game. That's how sports is played. A fan doesn't need to throw a damn bottle. Because now you guys are saying, yeah, they threw a bottle at him, but look, HD, he stomped on the logo. You see, you're doing what these white boys are doing, what white media is doing. But I understand that. Now, Tristan Thompson. This is a guy on your current Boston team, Garnott. Are you going to diss him? Jaylen Brown. Are you going to diss him? Tydrakis Bum Robinson. Are you going to diss him? Celtics Tristan Thompson says he heard racist remarks in Boston as an opposing player. Boston Celtics big man Tristan Thompson said Friday that he had racist language directed toward him from fans during his time as a member of the Cleveland Cavaliers. According to Jared Wise of The Athletic, Thompson said, my experience being a Celtic, nobody has said anything racial to me, but as a visitor, it's a different story. If they say anything like that, it comes from their home training or lack of home training, as my mother would say. Hold on, let me read this back to you guys because you guys are slow as hell. According to Jared Wise of The Athletic, Thompson said, my experience being a Celtic, nobody has said anything racial to me. But as a visitor, it's a different story. If they say anything like that, it comes from their home training or lack of home training, as my mother would say. Per Wise, Thompson expanded on his comments saying, there are certain cities that you can expect some racial slurs around the third quarter once someone has enough beers and they know that they're far enough from us where we can't do nothing to them. Thompson's comments came on the heels of current Brooklyn Nets and former Celtic guard Kyrie Irving saying this week that he was hopeful Celtic fans wouldn't direct any subtle racism toward him in games 3 and 4 of Brooklyn first round playoff series. Irving was asked if Celtic fans had ever made racist remarks to him, and he said he was not the only one that can attest to this. Am I right or am I wrong? Celtics guard Marcus Smart echoed Irving's remarks when asked about them on Thursday. Hold on. Wait a minute. Marcus Smart. This is Marcus Smart, Kevin Garnott. This is Marcus Smart. Ty Drake is Bum Robinson. This is Marcus Smart. Hold on. This is for your slow ass. Let's go. I just got in my bag. Celtics guard Marcus Smart echoed Irving's remarks when asked about them on Thursday. Yeah, I've heard it. I've heard a couple of things. It's hard to hear that and then have them support us as players. It's kind of sad and sickening. Yeah, I've heard it. I've heard a couple of things. It's hard to hear that and then have them support us as players. It's kind of sad and sickening. Others have alleged racist treatment from Boston sports fans over the years as well. Last year, Celtics legend Bill Russell says Celtics fans called him racist and derogatory things during his playing career in his 1979 memoir. Russell called Boston a flea market of racism. In 2017, then Baltimore Orioles outfielder Adam Jones said Boston Red Sox fans at Fenway Park called him a racial slur as well. Per Darren Hartwell of NBC Boston. This is what's funny. Kevin Garnett, what do you have to say now? Like Kenyon Martin said, nigga, you a porch puppy. You only fight niggas that are like 6'4" and under. You never went at the big guys ready to throw hands. Unless they were soft like Michael Olowokandi or somebody. I don't think Michael Olowokandi was soft. I just think he was a bad player. But you never came at the real dudes. Did you? Did you? Why you didn't keep that same energy for Rasheed Wallace or Chris Webber? But if it was Tim Duncan, because he's quiet, you thought you could punk him, and Tim Duncan would shit on you. You thought you could punk, you punked Pau Gasol because you know he was soft. Because he's a finesse player. He doesn't have dog like that in him. He's very skilled, but he doesn't have dog in him. But you used to go with him. Carmelo Anthony waited for you outside the locker room. You didn't do shit. All I heard was that complaint, if he come over here, I'm going to punch him. Nah. Carmelo pulled your card. Melo was finna whoop your ass. Because of the disrespect you thrown to him. But yet, Kyrie Irving explains this with Boston, what they've done. It's okay. You're going to go right to him stomping on the logo, but not call out that fan. Listen. Do your research before you speak. I'm out. Deezy.